Workplace consultant Cheryl Cran, our guest, 101 Ways to Make Generations X, Y, and Zoomers Happy at Work. Her new book. Before I had the coughing fit, we were talking about getting elected by using social media to move your business ahead, all of the above. And why some people are unhappy at work.
Right.
What's the core of it all?
What I believe is they're unhappy at work because of the recession, because a lot of leaders are putting extra pressure on them, because there's a lot of change happening. There are more Zoomers being asked to integrate technology into their work. There's a lot of things going on right now. And the research I did shows that the average worker, when the recession completely recovers in both the U.S. and in Canada, we're ahead of that, that there will be a migration of Gen X and Ys into other companies or into entrepreneurship. And so it's a fascinating, observation to see that, employers could get away in the past of, oh, well, if they're unhappy, they're going to stick around. We've got them by the golden handcuffs. More and more Gen X and Y are saying, there's more out there. There's more opportunity. I don't need to stay here.
I want to do something that stirs my soul.
Right.
That works with my heart.
That's right.
Perhaps.
That's right. Yeah.
And if it doesn't, I'm not going to work there.
That's right.
If they're polluting the harbor, I don't work there. I don't care if the money's good.
Exactly. I just had breakfast actually with a Gen X this morning, and it was a fascinating discussion because she said, I just have lost the passion for what I'm doing. Oh. And it was interesting to have that conversation with a Gen X who's saying, yes, this gives me a certain amount of success and I've made my way, but now what's next? And so a lot of people aren't settling. A lot of Zoomers became unhappy in the workplace, but they stayed there anyway, out of obligation, or they had bills to pay, or they felt they didn't have any other options. Gen X and Y say to themselves, I've got tons of options. They don't see themselves as optionless, if that's such a word.
I understand that, but Zoomers would say, my mother said, to go to work every day, 24/7, do your best, stick to your job.
Absolutely.
What about perks? Perks for Gen X, Gen Y, sabbaticals, paid sabbaticals, things like that. Flexibility.
Yep, those are all things they're expecting, but they're also expecting some cool things, like pay me to go get my master's degree, but not while I'm working. Let me take a year off to do that.
And you pay me while I get the master's?
That's right.
I like that.
Yes, they're looking at those types of things. Organizations are saying, okay, so philanthropy, I talk about that in the book. A lot of Gen X and Y are saying, let me do a philanthropic project while working for you. So let me go do a building homes for Habitat for Humanity and not take that out of my vacation time, but allow me to do that as part of a work project. So really looking at different ways of being able to interact in the world with their employer supporting them.
But how can employers afford that?
Yes, and that's the conundrum, is employers trying to figure out how can we meet these new demands of these employees while still running a profitable business. And so I predict, and research corroborates this, that in the next 10 years we're going to see organizations job sharing or making arrangements or hiring people on more contracts. We're going to see less employee positions and more contract positions. We're going to see people saying, I'll come and work for you for a year, and then I'm going to go off and do Habitat for Humanity for 6 months. When I come back, let's talk about a new contract. So even government is starting to do hiring back a lot of Zoomers on contract. So we're seeing that trend starting to take place and take hold in the workplace.
Well, during the Olympics, as you know, some government workers were paid to volunteer. Well, they were paid while they volunteered
at the Olympics. That's a great example.
Rebellion in all three generations. What does it look like?
Well,
why does a Zoomer rebel? Why does a Gen X rebel, or a Y?
Well, Zoomers are rebelling right now because they're actually angry at themselves for buying the belief that working hard was the only way to freedom. Now they're going, wait a second here. Gen X and Y are saying they want to have a life. I've given up my life for work. It's time for me to think about having a life. So a lot of Zoomers are rebelling. Like, I'm seeing people leaving long-term jobs of their own accord to say, I'm going to go do something completely different.
Even if I don't have the money to do it.
Exactly.
If I didn't work a job that provides a pension. Even then?
Yes.
Yes. That's a brave Zoomer.
Yes, and a lot of Zoomers are becoming entrepreneurs. A lot of Gen X are becoming entrepreneurs. Who was I talking with? Dr. Jean Carruthers in the city just the other day. We were talking about our Gen Y kids. She's actually quite knowledgeable about Gen Y. She's doing a research study.
And about Botox.
Yes, yes, she is. But right now she's doing a research study on Gen Y in regards to the plastic surgery world. Because she's saying Gen Ys see plastic surgery as a right. Zoomers see it as a luxury. And it's a fascinating insight into that world of how we see things. But the Gen Xers are rebelling by saying, look, if you're not going to treat me well, I'm going to go off and start my own business. I'm willing to take the risk. I can build my life around my own business. I can have the freedom and flexibility that suits me. Gen Y are saying, if you're not going to treat me right, I'm not sticking around. I'll
or
go
if
work
I
somewhere
chose
else.
the wrong profession. I know some Gen
Yes.
Xers who became lawyers, didn't like practicing law.
That's right.
Dentists, didn't like practicing
right.
dentistry, decided to do something else. Teacher, whatever your profession, in
Yes.
quotes, is, as you know, the Zoomers decided to be teachers, probably stayed
Yes.
teaching
Yes.
until the pension arrived and they could retire.
Yes, well, I love that you use the word rebelling, but really what we're seeing is people are not buying the belief that you have to stick to one identity. So, you know, Gen Y sees themselves as constantly being able to reinvent themselves, a.k.a. Madonna, a.k.a. Lady Gaga. You know,
Sure.
their world is that you can constantly reinvent and recreate, and you don't have to buy into an identity. Baby boomers, a lot of them right now are going through major stress leave, and because they're going through identity crisis. You know, I've worked in the government for 30 years. Is this all I am? Is this all I do? What else is there?
Sure. Work-life balance, very
Yes,
important to
very
all
important.
generations.
Yes.
What motivates everyone regardless of their generation?
Everybody wants to feel valued at work. Everybody wants to contribute at work. Everybody wants to get along socially at work. So we all have the same desire to feel like we're contributing, that we're coming to a place that's healthy and then where we want to work. And that's what I focus on. I don't focus on the differences. I focus on what do we innately have in common. We all want to work in a meaningful environment. We all want to be recognized. And I think it's time for a reality check for Zoomers to say, just because I've done 15 years, do I really want to be a leader? You know, or what do I really want to do? If I'm a Gen X, if I want to be a leader, how do I want to do it that's different than the person that's ahead of me or has gone before me?
Sure,
And
in the second half, know thyself.
Yes, yes.
What do I really want to do, as you suggest, and who am I?
And who I'm, the
And
eternal
what is
question.
my legacy?
That's exactly right.
And maybe I
Yeah.
don't have one, and that's okay too.
Yes.
Probably a Gen Xer would say, legacy schmegacy.
Well,
Who cares?
well,
Are you happy in the moment?
But Gen X and Y see their legacy as being worldwide and global, not localized to work. See, that's interesting because baby boomers say, well, my local legacy is that I will groom this person and bring them up to be the next me. Gen X and Y go, I'm making a global impact. My legacy is going to be that I'm going to volunteer with you know, Habitat for Humanity, or I'm going to go and make a difference in different parts of the world. Far more global perspective.
Sure, but because of technology, that you can make a global impact without leaving
That's correct.
Vancouver.
That's correct.
You can
Yes.
connect in a way we've never been able to connect before,
That's right. That's right.
person to person.
That's right. I mean, you know, when my daughter was a teenager, she could play Nintendo Wii and she'd be playing somebody in Japan. I mean, at the age of 15, she was connecting with people globally. When I was a kid, I grew up on a farm in Saskatchewan. I was connecting with the farm animals. You know, completely different reality for us
Right.
in regards to who we're
And now
connecting
they
with.
have people who create farms called the Gentle Barn or the Gentle
Yes.
Farm, and they rescue cows. And, you know, but that's one step beyond the farm.
That's right.
And then we have
Yeah.
the Back to the Landers.
That's right.
Who say farm
Boy-
folk, city folk.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. But the exciting thing, and the reason I wrote the book, is I have a deep passion to bring the generations together and for us to learn from each other. One of the things that I researched that's happening is reverse mentoring, where Gen Ys are being asked to mentor their Zoomer counterparts. It's a complete unorthodox perspective, but it makes sense. And the Gen Y says, please let me share my technical knowledge with you. I want to help you succeed, but in exchange, could you please share what you know with me?
My business knowledge.
That's right.
If you've run Alcan or something and somebody starts up a .com and you're a retired Alcan exec, you can be their general
Business
manager
advisor.
or CFO.
Correct.
And they can do all the wild stuff.
Correct. Yeah. So it's an exciting time where we get to pool resources and learn from each other.
Yes. Nice to see you. I think
Thanks,
I'll see
Sam.
you again next
I
week
think so.
with the rest of the work gang. Thank you. Cheryl Cran, tips for business owners and leaders, 101 ways to make generations X, Y, and Zoomers happy at work.